Hi, everybody. It's Greg and Arun back with your salt and pepper MLB, WNBA, and NBA plays. We're going to be covering like 7 games today. Usually we do this on Monday or Tuesday night for the next day, and we have a lot more games, but we had some time or commitments this week. So we're doing it here on Wednesday night for Thursday's games. Before I get to it, don't forget, get in on that free $60 account, docsports.com/free60. That's where you can get our absolute top plays. And I'm going to have a top play in the NBA today. Smaller play probably in NHL and Major League Baseball. I see. What do you have? Anything top play for tomorrow?
The NBA playoffs is going pretty well. We're sitting around plus 12 or 1300, and maybe even we might be stepping out in hockey tomorrow as well. But really, probably just a hockey step out and maybe something small in the WNBA.
All right. Now that's what you can get over at the website. Of course, if you're not new, just go to the grid and get in on the top play. So NHL for IC, NBA for me. So make sure you check it out at docsports.com. Underneath the grid, just get in on your favorite capper. Follow our names down in the sport you like. Okay. Also, don't forget about our Premium and Premium Plus. Very easy to get in. And this is YouTube-only picks. So all you got to do is go to the link in the description. It's $19.99 for level 1. That's Indian Cowboys level 1. It's $49.99 for level 2. I'll talk about level 2, and we'll kick it back to IC for level 1. So you get IC's level 1 included in the $49.99 per month. It's 3 picks every day. 2, 3, or 4 unit plays for the Premium Plus. So make sure you get in on it. It's just $49.99 a month. That's a $2,700 value just for those picks. And then you get the IC level 1 thrown in there as well. IC, tell them about level 1, what they're going to get every day.
Yeah, level 1's an extra video every single day. You get about 5 extra selections every single day. One of them is a YouTube Premium selection, and it goes in depth and how we analyze ball games. So, probably one of the best deals on the internet. An extra video every single day. I might even miss a free pick video, but I don't miss YouTube Premium. And you get about 150 selections, all for just $20 a month. Between that and our premium selections at Doc Sports and our free play video, you're covered every single day.
Yeah, so make sure you check it out. In addition, if you get the level 2, the Premium Plus, we throw a 10% off promo code that you can use every day to purchase. So when you want the top plays, say in the game of the year, 7 unit, whatever you like from any of the cappers, you get that included. So it's an extra 10% off. It ends up paying for itself on top of the picks. Okay, let's kick off in Major League Baseball for Thursday action. Thursday, the 29th of May. We've got a doubleheader to start off. I'm going to throw it to you for the first matchup. Braves and the Phillies. Sanchez on the mound facing Smith Sawyer. Phillies favor -51, total 8.5. What do you like in this matchup?
Yeah, Braves are 3 games under 500 now. They lost 0-2 on May 27th, and they were favored in both those games that they lost recently. And they're looking to try to avoid lose 3 in a row, and they've only done that once recently. And then you got to go back all the way back to early May before it did that. Philadelphia rolls in here, playing really well, 35-19 now. They had that great stretch against Pittsburgh and Colorado and the Athletics. But again, that's Pittsburgh, Colorado, and the Athletics. They did beat the Braves, though, 2-0. I think at one point here you had a team that was around 10-1, over their last 11 games, which is phenomenal. But you have to think the Braves are going to show up here somewhat here. And you have Smith Sawyer here. He has not faced Philadelphia this year. He comes off his worst start of the year, probably 3 innings, 8 hits, and 7 runs against Washington. Not good. Prior to that, he went 6 innings, 2 hits, and no runs against Washington. So the simple fact that he faced him back-to-back starts, that's why he got shelled, because it's hard to beat a team twice in back-to-back starts. So don't hold that start against him. Prior to that 7 earned run performance against Washington, he gave up no runs to Washington in 6 innings, 1 run to Pittsburgh in 5 innings, no runs to Cincinnati in 8 innings, 2 runs to Colorado. In fact, he had not given up a non-quality start all year long. So 7 straight quality starts before this one bad start here. You get the Braves off of a loss as well. And then you get Sanchez rolling in here, coming off 4 innings, 7 hits, and 2 runs. He did beat the Athletics, but he's given up a lot of walks, and he's given up at least 3 walks in 4 of his last 5 starts, right? He's given up 12 hits over his last 10 innings. If you add the walks, he's given up about 15 base runners over his last 10 innings. I'm going to back the Braves on the dog price.
I was kind of surprised because yesterday Wheeler was scheduled to go yesterday, and it rained out. I was surprised he didn't go in the early game. But I guess maybe they wanted to match him up against Sale. So this second game is a little better matchup, don't you think?
Yeah, probably. And in fact, as far as the second game is concerned, you have the Braves here facing Philadelphia and Sale versus Wheeler on a total of 7.5. Is there one that you prefer more than the other in this? Given the fact that I just leaned on the Braves, how do you feel
Yeah.
about this game?
Well, my 6 unit top play yesterday was on Wheeler and the Phillies. Of course, I got rained out. Now we got a different starter facing off. I don't like this as much as far as Phillies, even though I do think they'll win the game. I just think the safer plays on the under here. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think the first game you could see a higher scoring game. I think this one will be the lower scoring. I think Chris Sale, he's kind of rounding into form a little bit. We've seen some nice outings here in his last handful, and Wheeler's been amazing. He's had a great year. I think it continues. I like the under in this matchup. If you held a gun to my head, I would take Phillies minus 120, but I think the safer play under 7.5 in this one. Now I see, looking at this third game for the day, Athletics and the Blue Jays. Barrios on the mound for Toronto. Lopez on the mound for Athletics. Toronto's favored by minus 150, total 8.5. What do you like here? A's just 1-9 in their last 10 games.
Yeah, they're struggling. And they just lost to Houston 1-11 and 3-5 in back-to-back games. So that's not good. And then you have Toronto rolling in here, who they've surprised me a little bit. They took 2 or 3 from the Rangers, to their credit. They got swept by the Rays, but then they swept Padres before that. These two teams, as far as facing each other this year, they've not faced each other this year. So it's the first time they're meeting up as well. You get Lopez here, like you said, against Barrios here. Lopez, had a 5 ERA last year with Tampa Bay, but he's had a good year with Oakland, around a 2.57 ERA, 7 innings, 3 hits, and 1 run against Philadelphia. He hasn't faced Toronto yet this year. Typically a relief pitcher, but to be honest with you, he had 8 strikeouts in his last games, and he was phenomenal. He pitched really well. So there is some value here, but you got to be really gutsy to take the A's here, given that they are 1 in their last 11. It's sort of like the Cardinals as they faced whoever they faced today. I was thinking to myself, maybe the Orioles. And the Orioles were actually favored. And despite the fact they're like 15 games under 500. And yeah, of course, the Orioles were up. But guess what the Cardinals did? They hit the relief pitchers of the Orioles, and they ended up winning 6-4. That's the kind of nonsense that happens. You can take them for the first 5 innings possibly. But, Barrios rolls in here. He has not faced Oakland this year. Comes off 6 innings, 3 hits, and then 3 runs against Tampa Bay. And he comes off 4 straight losses now. So he's going to be highly motivated too. He's had to face Tampa Bay twice, Detroit, and the Angels. I think both these guys are super motivated. And, I was a little surprised the total was sitting at 8.5 as well. It's a tough game, but I would take a small lean on the under, but that's about it.
Yeah, the Athletics are 500 on the road because that ballpark is so tough. So that's an interesting game that you see an underdog there with a team that's pretty good on the road.
As far as Tampa Bay versus Houston here, Tampa Bay is on the road here. You have Baz and Gusto here on a total of 8. Tampa Bay, of course, winning 2 of 3 from Minnesota. What do you think about that game, Craig?
Well, I kind of wrote these Rays off maybe a little too early. They were 8 games below 500. Now they're a game above 500. Really been playing good baseball. Both these teams 7-3 in their last 10 games. To me, there's a reason why this is basically a pick'em game. Astros minus 115. I think this is one of those that you play the first 5 innings. I think you play the first 5 inning Rays. I think the Rays will be better. Baz is better than his 5 ERA, in my opinion. I think he has good stuff. He's had a couple of those games, I always say the crooked games, the crooked number games. And if you draw a line through those, I think he's a little better. I like the first 5 inning, the underdog Tampa Bay Rays to stay hot in this one. Now we're going to move to the WNBA, and first game on the board, Golden State versus Liberty. Golden State, big underdog here. Liberty favored by 18, total of 163. This is a Golden State team they're the expansion team for you guys that don't know. But they've been better than what I thought they'd even be this year. What do you like in this matchup?
Yeah, they have a fabulous coach, Golden State, and they ended up. So that Golden State coach used to be the Clippers assistant. She also has helped Vegas Aces win 2 titles. So, and she's also the first coach, I think, of Japanese descent as well. So she's got a lot of firsts going on. Look, it's interesting. New York throttles team 95-67. One of my leans was on New York yesterday or the day before, and that game went under 163.5. I think one of 2 things is probably going to happen here. I think you will probably see Golden State show up here, but I also like the over in this game because Golden State's going to play much better than they did in their first game. I mean, this is a team that put up 82 on LA and 76 against Washington, and they just only scored 67 points in their last game, and they shot 34% from the field. I think they'll shoot much better from the field here. So I lean on Golden State here, and I also lean on probably the over. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. So we'll see what happens. Craig, I did want to ask you a question. There is this Washington game against Seattle. Do you want to do that? But the Nationals are facing Seattle, and of course the Nationals are. This is happening tomorrow at around 9:40. The Nationals are throttling Seattle right now, like 9-0,
Oh,
and
shit.
so you're good.
I
You're
messed
good.
up.
Yeah, you're good. So the Nationals are absolutely demolishing the Mariners right now. They're a minus 110 favorite, which is interesting. And Seattle is also a minus 110 favorite. You have Gore and Hancock here. Nationals are interesting. After if they win this game, they're only 5 games under 500. What do you think about that game?
Yeah, Gore, 3.47 ERA on the year. I think he's better than what you kind of expect. Washington's one of those teams that, like you said, the East in both the American and National League are so tough. So to be where they are with the competition in their division, I think says something. This is a Seattle team that was hot there they went on that road streak. It was like they played 10 games on the road. They went like 7-3 or something like that. Since then, they basically played about 500 baseball. And I think you take Washington again today. I think they have a slight starting pitching edge, and this team's starting to play a little better. 6-4 in their last 10 games. I want to take Washington minus 110 in this one. Now let's go back to the WNBA and talk about this Dallas and Chicago game. Two teams that aren't very good, 1-4 and 0-4 straight up. Dallas favored on the road here, minus 2.5, total 169.5. Chicago has. I thought they would be. I didn't think they'd be great this year, but I thought they'd be better than what their record is right now. What do you like in this matchup?
Fascinating game between both these teams. Their records are 1-8, and Dallas comes off their first win against Connecticut on the road as Paige Buchers. That was my prop actually to take Paige over the 14.5 points, and she had a season high, 22 career high too, given that she's a rookie. And they ended up winning 109-87. So what happens in this game? Well, they haven't met this year, but Chicago has beaten this team the last 3 times they played them. Chicago is bad. Okay. And it's interesting that Dallas, of course, comes in as the road chalk here. Dallas, of course, scoring 109 points in the last game. I like the fact that this total came out so high. For 169 points for a Chicago Sky game is like insane. But against Indiana, Chicago lost 58-93. They actually did much better against Phoenix on the road. They lost 89-94. They had more offense against LA, losing 78-91. Dallas is not a great defensive team. They've given up at least 80 points in their last 3 games. And if you include the home opener, that was 70, or the second game was 79 against Seattle. But other than that, it was been 99, 79, 85, 83, and 87. So Chicago's going to get a chance to score here. And Dallas comes off their biggest win of the year at 109 points against Connecticut. So I think they have a little bit of a defensive letdown. I like this game to go over the posted total. I can't go against Chicago because they might get their first win of the year, because Dallas can have a classic letdown. I can't take Chicago because they suck. But having said that, I do think this game might go over the posted total because their offense is getting better. And I like the over here actually. So moving on, now we've covered the WNBA, we've covered baseball, and it's not baseball, Craig, it's baseball. We've covered baseball, and then and Craig gets to round us out with a fantastic game as Indiana is on the road against New York in game number 6. I've seen a lot of TikToks and reels about Karl Anthony Towns being zesty. I don't know if you've seen those reels about him being zesty.
No.
Have you seen them? Dude, they're funny. And he's a great player. I got nothing against zesty players. Oh, God, I will never say anything wrong and not politically correct, because the stuff that we get mailed in, like, I'm not saying – he just says that he's very zesty and colorful. And, it's how he makes a pass and he's like a little eccentric about it. That's what these videos are about. And they're very, very funny. If you want to put just put Karl Anthony Towns zesty on your Insta or whatever it is. They're so funny. And some guy went around the New York Knicks and goes, "Give me your most zesty Karl Anthony Towns impression." And it's very funny. But Indiana's on the road against New York. Do you think, Indiana closes it out at New York? Or do you think, what do you think about this total? The last game went to 251 points on a total of 219. What do you think is going to happen here?
Well, I've got a premium play on this one. So I'm not going to talk about the side or total because I pretty much give it away. But I do like a player prop, and this is actually going to be a 3-unit player prop that everybody's getting. I like Pascal Siakam over 20.5 points. I think he's the one pacer outside of Halliburton that can get his own shot. And they got to get him more shots in that mid-post area. When he posts up, because you can't help. This team shoots the ball too well. So he gets to go one-on-one, and he's had some great performances in this playoff. I think he's really the key. Halliburton's been unbelievable. He's the star. Don't get me wrong. But Siakam is remember he won a championship with Toronto back in, and he was like the second best player on that team. I think he goes over again tonight. I think that's the key to keep them close to this Knicks game. Now, the big question, as far as make sure you watch, Karl Anthony Towns is questionable with that knee injury. So that is going to be the key, because I don't think the Knicks can win if he's not close to 100%. So make sure you don't bet until you see that one. But if you want my top play, go over to docsports.com and get in on that under the NBA.
Craig,
it's either going to be 6 or 7 units.
I'll tack on something real fast too. I like a prop. I like Halliburton to go under here, by the way. I think he's going to be super cocky after 34 points in his last game. There's no way he's going to shoot
double, by the way.
Yeah, there's no way he's going to shoot 50% in a closeout game. So I want to go on the record and say I lean on the under for Halliburton for points tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it'd be more like I wouldn't take his points as far as over, but I would take assists. I do think they have to hedge more. He's had 15, 7, 11, and 11 in this series assists, and it's over 9.5. I think they have to change up their coverage. They're setting those double picks, so they're staggered, trying to get them to get the double switch and get basically Brunson or a big guy on Halliburton, and they did not handle it well. I mean, they ran out like 20 possessions in a row to finish the game. The Knicks, I think, are going to either double him or they're going to hedge, like push over the top like they're doing on Brunson. So,
dude, if it ends up being Indiana and Oklahoma City, I don't know if anybody on the East Coast or the West Coast will tune in.
They're saying it'll be the worst ratings ever.
Like, if you're in New York or if you're in Florida or if you're in Cali, I mean, then again, the Midwest has a very rabid fan base too.
Yeah, but those guys are going to watch either way because they're like diehard basketball fans. So those guys are going to watch no matter if it's Indiana or Oklahoma City Knicks or whoever. But the problem is you're not getting any in California, and you're not getting any of the East Coast or the South. So it is going to be a problem. Hey, that doesn't mean anything for us bettors, because I think bettors will still come out and bet this series. But man, the ratings aren't going to be good for the NBA. All right, so there you have it. There's our eight plays for today. So that's your 8 plays for today. We'll be back again with all the MLB cards. Maybe not next week. I'm going to be in Vegas, so we'll see if we can make it work. If not, we'll have 1 week off, and then we'll be ready to go for the rest of the summer. So make sure you stay tuned. Don't forget, like and subscribe, and don't forget, go over, click the link in the description, get in on the Premium Plus on YouTube, or go over to the website and get our absolute top plays at docsports.com and start winning tonight. Good luck. Thanks again, IC. We'll see you again next time.